Have you ever felt like everyone else has life figured out except you? Like you're standing at the edge of something huge, but have no clue which way to jump? That feeling of being stuck in a fog, where every decision seems massive and every choice feels like it could make or break your entire future. If you're in your 20s, you know this feeling well. The pressure is relentless. Society, friends, family, they all seem to expect you to have answers you don't even have yet. But here's the truth no one tells you. It's okay not to know. It's okay to feel lost. This decade is not about having it all together. It's about learning to live with uncertainty. And that is a powerful skill you can develop right now. The fear of the unknown can freeze you, making you hesitate, holding you back from moving forward. But what if I told you that embracing this uncertainty is the very thing that will set you free? Instead of waiting for the perfect moment or perfect plan, imagine if you start small, focusing on what you can control today, your actions, your mindset, your willingness to keep trying despite doubt. When you shift your focus from the overwhelming what-ifs to the simple what's next, everything changes. You start to build momentum, even when you can't see the entire path ahead. This feeling of not knowing isn't a weakness. It's an invitation to grow, explore, and create your own map, rather than follow someone else's. The weight of expectation can crush your spirit if you let it. But when you learn to accept that no one really knows what the future holds, you gain a quiet confidence that allows you to act anyway. This confidence isn't loud or boastful. It's calm, steady, and rooted deep inside. It's the kind of strength that comes from trusting yourself enough to take one step, then another, without needing to see the whole staircase. And here's why it matters so much. The habits, choices, and mindset you develop now will shape the rest of your life. Not by magic or luck, but because you are learning how to navigate uncertainty with courage and persistence. This is your chance to build resilience, to become the person who keeps going when things don't make sense, who creates clarity from chaos. By the end of this video, you will understand why embracing uncertainty is your greatest advantage in your 20s. You'll see how small, consistent actions can carve a path where none seems to exist, and you'll feel ready to stop waiting for perfect answers, stepping boldly into a future you shape with your own hands. So stay with me, because what comes next will change how you see this decade, and maybe, just maybe, change your life. Every day you have a choice. A tiny moment where you decide who you will become. It's easy to get caught up waiting for a breakthrough or a sign that it's time to act. But the truth is, transformation happens quietly, in the repetition of small habits that feel insignificant at first. These tiny actions, done consistently, create a ripple effect that can change your entire life. Your 20s are the perfect time to harness this power, because the brain is still adapting, still growing, ready to form new patterns that stick for decades. It's not about overwhelming yourself with massive goals or impossible standards. It's about focusing on what you can do right now, something so small it feels almost invisible. What you do today shapes how you think tomorrow, and how you think tomorrow shapes the choices you make the next day. This is how momentum builds. When you commit to small positive actions, even if it's just a few minutes of learning, a quick walk, or a moment of reflection, you are training your brain to expect growth. This rewires your mind, builds confidence, and makes you more resilient. The science behind this is clear. Habits form neural pathways that become stronger with use. The more you repeat a positive behavior, the easier it becomes. The small victories feel like tiny deposits into your personal bank of self-trust. Over time, these deposits accumulate into an unshakable foundation. But here's the catch. These habits only work if you stick with them. It's easy to start with fire and passion, only to lose steam when progress seems slow or invisible. That's why the real power is in patience. Growth is not a sudden burst, it's a quiet, steady climb. When you learn to celebrate progress, no matter how small, you build endurance and self-belief. This is what separates those who give up from those who become unstoppable. It's the daily choices that matter most, the ones nobody sees but that make all the difference. You don't need to be perfect, and you don't need to do everything at once. Choose one small habit that aligns with who you want to be. Focus on it with gentle consistency. Let it become your daily ritual. When doubt creeps in, remind yourself that this small step is a powerful act of self-respect and self-care. This simple shift changes everything. It puts you back in control when life feels chaotic. It builds confidence from within, and it creates a sense of purpose rooted in action, not just hope. Imagine waking up each day knowing you are moving forward, even if it's just a little. Imagine how that feels after weeks, months, and years. how that momentum grows until it carries you past every obstacle. This is not about speed or instant success, it's about trust. Trust in the process, trust in yourself, and trust that your efforts will compound into a life you can be proud of. The moment you realize this power is already in your hands, hesitation fades. You become unstoppable, not because the world suddenly changes, but because you do. And that makes all the difference. There is incredible strength in learning to say no. In your 20s, it can feel like every opportunity, invitation, and request is a chance you must grab. The fear of missing out presses on you like a weight, pushing you to agree to things that don't serve your purpose or drain your energy. But the truth is, every yes comes with a cost. Every yes to something that isn't aligned with your goals, values, or well-being takes away time and energy from what truly matters. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful acts of self-respect you can master. It is not about shutting doors forever. It's about protecting your focus and clarity in a noisy world. Saying no creates boundaries that allow you to guard your time, the most precious resource you will ever have. When you say no to distractions, you say yes to your growth. When you say no to draining relationships, you say yes to your peace of mind. This simple act builds confidence because it puts control back in your hands. It rewires your brain to prioritize your needs, not just the expectations or demands of others. Many people avoid saying no because they fear rejection, conflict, or disappointing others. But here's the hard truth. Constantly saying yes to please everyone else erodes your sense of self and leaves you exhausted. When you begin to set boundaries, you teach others how to treat you. You show up as someone who values themselves enough to protect their dreams and mental health. This is a deep psychological shift. It moves you from being reactive, always trying to keep others happy, to being proactive, intentionally shaping your life. Saying no is not selfish, it is necessary. It is an act of courage that separates those who drift through life from those who lead it with purpose. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. You learn that every no is a seed planted for greater focus, energy, and success. It's important to recognize the fear behind your hesitation. Fear of missing out, fear of conflict, or fear of being judged. But what if the real loss is not in saying no, but in losing yourself by saying yes to everything? What if every boundary you set is a step toward freedom? Freedom from burnout, from distraction, and from living according to someone else's script. This control over your choices strengthens your inner foundation. It creates space for what truly matters: growth, learning, and meaningful connection. When you protect your time and energy, you reclaim the power to direct your life. This isn't about shutting down opportunities, it's about opening the right doors. It's about choosing what fuels you, not what drains you. You have the right to say no. You have the strength to say no. And with every no, you get closer to the yes that changes everything. This ability transforms overwhelm into clarity, exhaustion into vitality, and uncertainty into deliberate action. As you practice this, you begin to see your 20s not as a chaotic race, but as a purposeful journey where you lead with intention. Your power grows because you are no longer scattered. You are focused, deliberate, and in control. This is a choice you can make right now. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Every no brings you closer to the life you want and deserve. Fear of failure is one of the heaviest chains that hold us back, especially in our 20s when everything feels so uncertain. The voice inside your head might be telling you to play it safe, avoid risks, and stick to what feels comfortable. But what if failure isn't the enemy you think it is? What if it's the very thing that leads to your greatest growth? Failure isn't a final judgment on your worth or ability, it's a necessary part of the process. Every setback, every rejection, every mistake carries a lesson that no success can teach. When you begin to see failure as feedback instead of defeat, your mindset shifts dramatically. This change in perspective rewires your brain to welcome challenges, to embrace discomfort, and to grow stronger with every attempt. Resilience isn't born from smooth sailing, it's forged in the fires of trial and error. The truth is, no one becomes successful without facing failure. What separates those who rise from those who fall is their relationship with failure itself. Do you let it define you, or do you use it as fuel? When you stop fearing failure, you open yourself to possibility. You free yourself to take bold steps, to experiment, and to learn quickly. This doesn't mean reckless risk-taking, it means courageous action informed by lessons learned. Your 20s are your training ground for this kind of resilience. It's where you build the mental muscles needed to bounce back from disappointment and keep moving forward. The psychological power of reframing failure is backed by how the brain processes experience. When you view setbacks as temporary and specific rather than permanent and personal, you maintain motivation and avoid paralysis. This mindset creates a loop of growth, where each failure leads to insight, which leads to improvement, which leads to confidence. This is how you transform fear into your greatest teacher. It takes practice to change your internal narrative. When you fail, instead of telling yourself, "I'm not good enough," say, "This didn't work, but I can learn from it." Replace the stories of defeat with stories of resilience. This builds emotional strength and rewires your self-belief. The more you do this, the more failure loses its power to stop you. Instead, it becomes a signpost pointing you closer to your goal. Embracing failure also means embracing discomfort. Growth is uncomfortable because it pushes you beyond what is familiar and safe. But discomfort is the signal that you are stretching, evolving, and becoming more capable. When you become comfortable with discomfort, fear no longer holds the same grip. You build a new confidence, one that is rooted not in perfection but in persistence. Your 20s are the time to take risks, fail forward, and grow fast. The sooner you accept failure as part of your path, the quicker you step into your true potential. This mindset frees you from the paralyzing fear of what if and replaces it with the empowering question, what can I learn? When you shift this way, failure stops being a wall and becomes a doorway. It's not a sign to quit, but a call to keep going stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever before. This is the secret that changes everything. The conversation you have with yourself every day is more powerful than any external advice or circumstance. Inside your mind, words shape your reality. Negative self-talk can quietly erode your confidence, drain your motivation, and build invisible walls that block your progress. In your 20s, when identity is still forming, the way you speak to yourself matters more than you realize. You might not notice how often you criticize yourself for mistakes, compare yourself to others, or doubt your worth. This internal dialogue can become a script that controls your actions and feelings, often without you even knowing it. But what if you could rewrite that script? What if you chose words that empower rather than weaken you? Changing your inner voice is not about ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and encouragement you would offer a friend. Research shows that self-compassion strengthens resilience, reduces anxiety, and boosts performance. When you replace harsh judgment with understanding, you create space to grow without fear. The power lies in awareness. Catch yourself when your thoughts turn critical. Pause and ask if those words are true, helpful, or kind. Then consciously choose to say something supportive instead. This rewiring of thought patterns takes practice, but it rewires your brain over time. The more you affirm your strengths, acknowledge your efforts, and remind yourself that setbacks are temporary, the more confident you become. This internal support system becomes a source of courage when facing challenges. Your mind stops being your enemy and becomes your ally. Imagine waking up knowing you are your biggest supporter. When self-doubt creeps in, you have a steady voice reminding you of your value and potential. This mental shift creates a powerful foundation for action. The way you think about yourself influences your behavior more than you might expect. Positive self-talk increases your willingness to take risks, try new things, and keep going after failure. It builds a mindset rooted in possibility rather than limitation. Your 20s are a critical period to cultivate this inner ally because the habits you form now will shape how you handle life's challenges for decades. This is your chance to develop a mental environment where growth thrives and fear diminishes. It requires commitment to practice kindness, patience, and honesty with yourself every day. This isn't about perfection or constant positivity. It's about creating a balanced and realistic inner dialogue that fuels persistence and self-belief. When you embrace this, you unlock a source of strength that no setback can extinguish. This inner transformation is what allows you to take the bold steps needed to build the life you want. It fuels courage when everything outside feels uncertain. It brings peace when the noise of doubt threatens to overwhelm. Changing your inner voice is the foundation of lasting change. It's a quiet revolution that starts inside and radiates outward. When you become your own champion, you open doors to opportunities you never thought possible. The moment you choose to speak kindly to yourself, you begin to rewrite your future. This power is yours right now. Time is your most valuable asset, far beyond money or possessions. In your 20s, it's easy to get caught up chasing dollars, titles, or material success. Believing these will bring happiness and security. But true wealth is measured in moments spent growing, learning, and connecting. When you understand that time cannot be earned back, it changes everything. You begin to see every hour as a precious resource, one that must be invested wisely. This shift in perspective frees you from the trap of constant busyness and the endless pursuit of more. Instead, you focus on what truly enriches your life. Investing your time in meaningful experiences, developing skills, and building authentic relationships creates lasting value that no amount of money can buy. The psychology behind this is powerful. When you prioritize time over money, you cultivate presence and purpose. You become more mindful of how you spend your days, more intentional in your choices. This mindfulness reduces stress and increases satisfaction because you're living aligned with your values. Many people realize too late that they traded time for money, only to find themselves burned out or disconnected. Your 20s are your chance to build a foundation where time is honored, not wasted. This means learning to say no to distractions and yes to opportunities that nourish your growth. It means choosing rest and reflection, knowing they recharge your mind and fuel creativity. It means spending time with people who uplift you and inspire you to be better. When you make time your priority, you gain a new kind of freedom, the freedom to design your life instead of being controlled by external pressures. This mindset helps you avoid the trap of endless comparison and the false belief that you must do everything at once. You learn to focus on what matters most, trusting that this focus will compound over time. The emotional power of valuing time is immense. It creates peace amid chaos because you no longer chase after every fleeting opportunity or distraction. Instead, you become a master of your attention and energy. This mastery opens the door to deeper fulfillment and resilience as you invest in what truly shapes your future. Recognizing the value of time also shifts your relationship with failure and setbacks. When you see life as a long journey rather than a race, you become patient with yourself. You understand that growth happens in seasons and every moment, good or bad, has meaning. This perspective reduces fear and increases courage to keep moving forward. The ability to prioritize time over money is a rare and powerful skill. It allows you to build a life rich in experience, connection, and purpose. It helps you escape the trap of superficial success and find real fulfillment. Your 20s are the perfect time to practice this skill because it sets the tone for decades to come. By valuing time now, you create a life where you don't just survive, you thrive. This choice empowers you to live fully, love deeply, and grow endlessly. It's the secret that turns ordinary days into extraordinary life. When you begin to see time as your most precious resource, every decision becomes an opportunity to invest in the future you want. This mindset is your greatest advantage. It gives you control, clarity, and peace, and it starts with one simple truth. Time, once lost, can never be regained. Choose to honor it. Choose to protect it. Choose to live with purpose today. The moment you realize that the power to change your life lies within you is the moment everything shifts. It doesn't matter where you start or what challenges you face. What matters is the choice to take control right now. Your 20s are not just a decade to survive, but a time to claim your power and build the foundation for everything that follows. This control begins with the small decisions you make each day. How you spend your time, how you speak to yourself, and how you respond to obstacles. These choices might seem minor, but they accumulate into the identity you carry forward. Psychological research shows that when people see themselves as agents of change, they become more motivated, more persistent, and more resilient. This sense of personal control fuels action, turning fear into courage and doubt into determination. It's not about having perfect control over every circumstance. That's impossible, but about mastering how you choose to act regardless of what life throws at you. When you embrace this mindset, you stop being a passive observer in your own story and become the author. This shift transforms the way you approach setbacks, uncertainty, and even success. Instead of being overwhelmed by what you cannot control, you focus your energy on what you can. The mindset you adopt, the habits you build, and the goals you pursue. This focus creates clarity and direction when confusion threatens to paralyze you. The emotional strength that comes from owning your power is profound. It brings peace amid chaos because you no longer rely on external validation or perfect conditions to move forward. You trust yourself enough to keep going, even when the path is unclear. This self-trust is the foundation of all lasting success and fulfillment. Taking control today also means letting go of excuses, blaming, and waiting for the right time. The right time is now. because every moment you wait is a moment lost. Each day without action strengthens old patterns of doubt and hesitation. But each step forward, no matter how small, breaks those patterns and builds new neural pathways of confidence and growth. This process of reclaiming control is not always easy. It requires courage to face fear, patience to endure discomfort, and persistence to stay committed when progress feels slow. But the reward is worth every struggle. A life shaped by your choices, not your circumstances. You become unstoppable because your motivation comes from within, not from outside forces that can change or fade. Your 20s are the proving ground for this inner power. The sooner you claim it, the stronger you become. This strength will carry you through every challenge and opportunity that lies ahead. When you finally embrace the truth that you are in control of your life, everything else falls into place. Your fears lose their grip, your doubts quiet down, your path becomes clearer. This moment of ownership is a turning point that changes not just what you do, but who you are. It's a declaration that you will no longer wait for life to happen to you. You will make life happen. And that decision will shape everything you become. Choose to take control today. Choose to become the person who moves forward with courage, clarity, and unstoppable resolve. Your future self will thank you for it. The knowledge you wish you had in your 20s is not just information. It's a call to action that demands your full attention today. There is no perfect moment waiting for you to arrive. The truth is, your future depends on what you decide right now. Every hesitation, every doubt, every delay chips away at your potential. But every decision to act, to choose growth over comfort, builds momentum that propels you forward. Your 20s can feel like a race against time, a pressure cooker of expectations and possibilities. But when you understand that the power to shape your life lies in your hands, that pressure transforms into opportunity. You stop waiting for external validation or the right circumstances and start creating your own path. This shift in mindset is not just motivational talk, it's a psychological truth that rewires your brain for success. When you take ownership of your actions and choices, your motivation changes from fleeting bursts to lasting drive. You become more focused, more resilient, and more confident in your ability to face challenges. The fear of failure, the paralysis of uncertainty, and the noise of doubt lose their hold. Instead, you develop an inner compass that guides you through the fog. This compass is built on daily actions, small wins, and the habit of self-trust. When you build these habits, your confidence grows naturally. Not because everything is perfect, but because you know you can handle whatever comes. This creates a powerful cycle where action feeds belief, and belief fuels more action. You begin to see setbacks not as dead ends, but as part of the process, essential steps toward mastery. The urgency to act now is more than just advice. It's a psychological trigger that activates your brain's readiness to change. When you accept that the moment to start is now, you break the cycle of procrastination and fear. You harness the energy of immediacy, which research shows increases focus and determination. This is why waiting for tomorrow or next week often means nothing gets done. Your best future depends on your ability to make decisions today. Choosing to start where you are with what you have is the most courageous and effective step you can take. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about moving forward despite uncertainty. Each step you take builds clarity, sharpens your goals, and strengthens your resolve. You don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step, but you do have to take it. This decision creates a ripple effect that changes how you see yourself and what you believe is possible. Your 20s are your launch pad, not your deadline. They are the time to build habits, mindset, and resilience that will carry you for a lifetime. By acting now, you claim the future you want instead of waiting for it to happen. This is the lesson worth knowing early. The lesson that empowers you to stop wishing and start doing. It's the difference between a life shaped by chance and a life shaped by choice. You hold the power. Use it today.